This video is for ballet lovers who are not necessarily professional ballet dancers or those who understand ballet technique. Today I'm going to review one of the most popular videos that I posted on YouTube, and that's the video of Margot Fonteyn and Rudolph Nureyev dancing Swan Lake. I'm not going to talk about any artistic qualities, but I want to speak a little bit about their technique from the professional ballet standpoint. It is very interesting because even now, 60 years later, especially Rudolph Nureyev could be still seen as a dancer with exquisite technique that would satisfy nowadays requirements. Everybody can see that Rudolph has this effortless type of jumping when he almost freezes for a brief second in the air. In ballet terminology, it's called ballon, and he's a dancer with a natural ballon. But if you pay close attention, you can also see that the level of his turnout is also great. And at the time, it was not a standard for a male ballet dancer or even a female ballet dancer to exhibit such level of turnout. Here we can see that he performs pirouette from the second position versus nowadays most of people perform it from the fourth position. This is part of the old technique that was a standard at that time. And even now in Bolshoi theater, they keep that occasionally as a stylistic difference. Again, look at the finishing pose, great turnout, beautiful position. Here I want to direct your attention to the position of Passe that Rudolph takes. So pay attention how high his crossing leg is. It's way above his knee. But this was not a standard at that time. For comparison, if we consider even times of Vaganova or earlier, the standard for that was slightly above ankle. And as time progresses, the height of that position was higher and higher. And then somewhere in the 60s, that's about the time when this performance was recorded, the standard was somewhere between the knee and the ankle position. Right now, the technique tells us to keep it high, so the high passe is in fashion, so usually it's at the knee level depending on the anatomy, but here we can see how Nureyev is able to achieve such high passe even at that time. And I give you a few examples of dancers of the same time to see their position. So just for this feature that he had, the shapes that his body makes still has very modern aesthetics and would be appreciated greatly in our times. Well, here we can see that he is doing arabesque. Look at the back leg, the one that is in the air. At that time, not all male performers would exhibit 90 degrees, and we see that Rudolph Nureyev goes for 90 degrees pretty much at every arabesque position. So this was also at the times when he was educated, this was not a standard for a man. And this is still very, very contemporary technique. Here we have a jump in the air a la second, also leg in 90 degrees, pointed, beautiful arabesque. Now again, jumps, and you can see how on every jump he adds additional beat of the legs. That's something that he was known for, to deliberately complicate and make the technique more difficult. So look, he has an additional beat here, and then on the large assemblée jump, he also has extra beat. He goes straight into double tour in the air, and pay attention how clean the landing position is. Is a perfect fifth position, which would be more than satisfactory in 2026. This only looks effortless, but it's very physical, it's very demanding, and it's very impressive what he does. Well, let's speak briefly about Margot Fonteyn. I love her, she's wonderful. She's a dancer of a previous generation, so let's briefly review her specific things that I think make her special, and I love it. First of all, we see that the tempo that she's performing is pretty fast, which is consistent in the older days that the fast stuff was danced faster than now, and slow stuff was then slower than now. So right now there is sort of tendency of making things a little bit more even to allow for greater physicality, but in terms of diversity in tempo, it's less interesting than what they exhibit here. Here she's doing a sequence of tourniquets. It's a pirouette when you step on your leg, and here we see a little bit of this old technique when the leg is somewhere exactly between the knee and the ankle, and it's crossed probably more than dancers do now. Well, here I want to show you a few interesting moments. This is called Italian fouette, and it's supposed to end in the position attitude. We can see it here. Nowadays, the standard is probably 90 degrees. Here we see sort of lowered attitude, probably hardly at 45. It's completely acceptable, but comparing to 90 degrees of Nureyev pretty much everywhere, this looks a little bit sort of like older school. Well, here we see massive Nureyev style jumps, a very wide music. He really covers so much stage. Again, look here, a perfect fourth position for pirouette. Here's a diagonal back, and again, look at the landing leg, how turned out that is. He also manages to add additional beat, so this is just phenomenal. Look at the foot that Nureyev has. At that time, it was actually unusual for a male dancer to have such nicely pointed foot, so that actually added a lot to his line, and you almost don't notice that his legs could have been longer, but it really totally works. So again, a perfect fourth position for pirouette. Well, now there is a fouette by Margot Fonteyn. So let's not forget that the point shoes technology really advanced nowadays. So doing that kind of trick at that time with that type of point shoe was nothing less of a miracle. So here's amazing. Now we can hear that the music speeded up, and look at the tempo at which Rudolph is performing these ground pirouettes. Pay attention that he makes doubles à la seconde, and every time he plies in between the turns, look how perfectly turned out he is. This is unusual because for many, even nowadays dancers, that plie would not be as turned out. So that's just phenomenal. Well, I hope you enjoyed my little commentary. I hope it gave you additional information about ballet technique, and I will do more of that. If you want me to discuss other videos, please just drop them in the comment. I'll be happy to make additional video and discuss, I would say, only technique and only the good part of technique of any other performer that you would like me to do.